Good. So. Good. Up away. Make sure you get man there. Yes. Good.
My name is Jeff Larentowicz. The director of Player Pathway. Essentially what I do is sit in the middle of all of our teams, kind of in between first, second, and the academy, monitoring player development, monitoring our top talents who come through. Obviously the goal is to get players moving from one stage to the next, from the academy through the second team and into the first team. And everybody understands that we're all here to serve the first team, right? To get players into that group, and like I said, get them into that group with the best foundation of understanding as they can. So, yeah, our teams train right next to each other, and our players are often in and out of both teams. There's a lot of value in that, and it just makes, like I said, that transition for the players a lot easier. And if Pat and his staff don't have to take 4 or 5 steps back to begin with a player, they're already caught up to speed, then that transition, that adaptation is quick. I'm trying to help Chris and the technical staff understand who deserves the opportunity, and then understand from Pat and his staff who or what position they might need in a game. Who's next, who's up, who's performing well, who deserves the shot. But then also, we've got an injury at this position, and so we've gone from a depth of 3 players, and now we're down to 2, and we need an additional guy in there. Who do you think that could be? So, yeah, I'm very involved in that.
The final night of Leagues Cup Phase 1. And here in Cincinnati, fans know the deck is stacked against them. Cincinnati making 9 changes to the starting 11 from their previous match. Goalkeeper Evan Loro won the opening match of Leagues Cup. The strike tandem of 18-year-old Stefan Chirila, and a first start for Venezuelan Ender Echenique tonight.
A young player who comes to the club at 14, 15 years old, the goal is to get them playing in TQL. Each player's development's a little bit different. Maybe they spend time each year with their age group in the academy and then move to the second team, to the first team. Sometimes the pathway's a bit quicker. You can have a 16-year-old playing in our next pro team. But the idea is to align everything, move the players through. All the coaches have a good understanding of who's moving in to their team, whether it be Tyrone in the second team or even stepping in to train or play with Pat, the first team.
The 18-year-old Stefan Chirila, Allentown, Pennsylvania native, and a homegrown part of the Cincinnati Academy. Scored 4 times in 14 appearances for FCC2 this 2025 season.
I think they have high hopes for him here. Very, very good player.
Alvis Powell plays this, and a shot blocked away. It was Mboma Dem with the chance, and it's out for a corner.
Kenji is a good kind of example to compare it to Stefan, but Steph moves through the academy. Kenji comes in where you're recruiting directly into a pro team from the outside. Kenji was at the University of Dayton. We recruited him, but then also we had to wait because we had to draft him. He jumped right in and was performing at a high level with the second team. Kenji is a really good example of a guy who kept his head down and continued to work. But that's kind of an example of a different pathway, and Kenji's done a great job.
Substitution now for Pat Noonan's side. We'll get a look at the player who was signed earlier today on short-term loan, Andrés Dávila, the 18-year-old striker.
Andrés is a guy who we went and scouted him abroad. He's a pretty big-time player from South America. Yeah, goal scorers, they step on the field, you give them half a chance and they score, and Andrés is one of those players.
For his first ever call to the first team, and he'll debut for Cincinnati in this Leagues Cup.
There you won't forget, that is for sure.
He has a knack for being in the right place inside the box. In a short time frame, you got to see that he's definitely at that level and can push his way in.
Finds its way to the foot of Powell. His service played in, and there it is! The man who's just entered. It's Andrés Dávila, moments into his debut, and you talked about a moment he'll never forget. He might have just topped that moment with that. His first goal for FC Cincinnati.
So it's important for the player individually, but I think it's also important for the collective group, because you have a bunch of guys that have been in FCC2 or maybe played through the academy, and they look at somebody and they say, okay, it's possible. I can step out there. I can compete with that guy, and he can compete at that level, which means I might have a good shot too. So seeing someone push all the way through is important for all the guys around him too.